Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective.
Good morning, everybody, or good middle of the day. I never know what to say. I'm out here on the West Coast. People always tell me good afternoon when it's 9 in the morning. I always tell people good morning when it's midday. I don't know. Welcome to the show. How about that? I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining us today. Sans glasses. No, I'm not wearing contacts. I've got this new standing desk that we've talked about, and as a result, I'm trying to find the sweet zone here, the happy zone. I'm a little bit closer to the screens actually standing up than sitting down, so I don't really need my glasses. I don't really need my glasses during the day anyway. So it's not a new look. It's just I'm trying to be able to read what I'm looking at. There you go. I'm Ray Powers of FantasyGuru.com. You have found Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We usually go about an hour. Mondays, it's all baseball. The rest of the week, it's about half baseball and football on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. On Wednesdays, it's Justin Fensterman. It's about half baseball, half basketball. So we try to service a little bit of everything here on the show. Tell a friend about the free show. We'd really appreciate it if you were so inclined. We'd also appreciate if you went to FantasyGuru.com and click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. When you do that, you get access to everything that we have to offer, and it's a lot. All the sports, you can go VIP Platinum and get everything we do. You can sign up for football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, horse racing, on and on and on. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner over at FG. 3 shows to talk about before we dive into today's show topics. Number 1, this show. You can hear this show again, Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can also type in Fantasy Sports Daily to your podcast network. You can find us there. You can go to FantasyGuru.com and just click that little Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. Do that, and we're good to go. You can find the podcast there. There's also 3 places you can watch the show live and leave comments and questions that we'll address throughout the show, or just watch at whatever point, because it's obviously cataloged if you can't watch it live. First off is YouTube, youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Second is Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite. Third is Facebook at facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. So in any of those 3 places, you can see me, you can see our guests. We'll talk to Armando Marsal a little bit here later today. You can see us, interact with us. Again, leave comments, questions, all that. Like Tony says, I'm looking forward to today's broadcast. Well, we're looking forward to giving a good broadcast, a good show, Tony, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. And then don't forget that, what was I going to say? No, I forgot what I was going to say, which is pretty hilarious. As I say, don't forget. I was actually going to talk about the product over at FantasyGuru.com. Got a player profile on Kyron Paris coming out in a few hours, so check for that today. I've been answering a ton of questions in the mornings over at FG and Discord. You get access to the Discord package if you sign up. It's not too late to sign up for the seasonal baseball package either. Obviously, it's not too late to sign up for baseball DFS or baseball wagering. We had a little bit of a sweat last night with the bet. We had 1 bet on the short slate. Today, a very short slate. I'm actually not going to be doing a DFS write-up today because there's no games on the evening slate. It's like 1 game. Major League Baseball with their crazy schedule here in the month of April. Marcell Ozuna got a hit run RBI prop in the bottom of the 9th inning. Woo! So came through right at the end, so we were able to hit that bet last night. Right now, I'm at 56% success rate, which is not bad. It's not where I want to be. It's not bad. If we were to be at 56% all season long, it doesn't sound great until you realize that's winning. You know, we did it all season long. I will say, as I've sprinkled in throughout, I had Austin Riley that I wrote up. He hit the prop, but I didn't put the bet out. I had Jackson Churia, who I wrote up, didn't put the bet out. He hit it last night. If I were to look at all the bets that I've written up, I'm at about 2/3. So my big challenge now is, it's not that my analysis has been wrong at all. It's that I've been choosing, if I have 6 to 8 guys that I write up after I do the whole process of breaking down the matchups and all that. If I've got 6 to 8 guys there, I usually choose 2 to 4 guys to post for bets. I've been choosing the wrong guys. I have a better success rate if you look at all the bets. So if I had placed every bet that I'd worked up to this point in time, I have a better success rate than the bets I actually posted. So I have to work on the bet selection. The analysis is right. The work I'm doing is leading to success. I just have to do a little bit better job of choosing which bets to put out. And I'll obviously do that here moving forward. Anyway, you can sign up support at fantasyguru.com. If you want to send an email, support at fantasyguru.com. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Get signed up for the DFS product, the wagering product, and again, the full season baseball package is available right now. So check it out over at fantasyguru.com. Tony says, by the way, Ray, we appreciate your hard work. Even if I miss a show, I always go back and listen. Even it is 3 days later. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I know, just to say it, I try to do what I can here. I'm having back and forth with people in Discord. I'm not a one-man show when it comes to baseball, but I'm kind of a one-man show. I'm doing DFS, wagering, and seasonal on a daily basis. I've got this show in the mornings. Jeff Mans has got the Elite Sports Show, as I return to that topic. He's got the Elite Sports Show at 3 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. I'm on with Jeff on Wednesdays. I now have the Elite Sports Game Time Show from 8 to 10 Eastern, Monday through Friday on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio with Justin Fensterman. So as an example, yesterday I did 3 shows. On a daily basis now, I'm doing at least 2 shows. So there's a lot of talking. I know not everyone's subscribed to Sirius. I know not everyone can watch an hour-long podcast every day. I know everyone can't read every article. I get it, but I really try in some form or another to hit on all the topics. That's been one thing I've been able to do very effectively over the last 25 years, is to kind of drill down to the heart of what you want to know, what you want to hear talked about, what's important to you. So somewhere, and so hopefully you're not getting upset if I stick a note in Discord and say, I talked about it this morning, or, I know everyone consumes the product differently. And hopefully you're finding what you need at some point. By the way, John G says, my whole team is hurt and I dropped off the tailgate of a trailer on my foot. IL me as well. Well, John, sad to hear about your team struggling, though I think that is something that a lot of other people are dealing with. Feel really bad about your foot. Hopefully your foot's okay. Hopefully you don't need to get a cast or be laid up for a long term. The Elite Mafia is cheering for you, John. Hopefully things go well for you. Here's what we're talking about today on the rest of the show. In about 25 minutes, we'll visit with Armando Marsal. We'll talk some football. Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Tyrone, Tracy, James Cook, Rhamondre Stevenson, Kamani Vidal. What are the Cowboys doing in the backfield? Ashton Genty. We'll talk about that with Armando here in about 25 minutes. Before then, we'll talk about a lot of injuries on the baseball field. Never ending. We'll talk about some strong performers. We've got guys like Seiya, Suzuki, Mike Yastrzemski, Jose Caballero doing some nice things, so we'll talk about them. We'll also spend a good deal of time talking bullpens. Edwin Diaz, Emmanuel Clase, Jeff Hoffman, Devin Williams. Talk a little bit about bullpens. And a positive note on Francisco Alvarez. Hey, sometimes we get a positive note on injuries. We got one coming up here with Francisco Alvarez. All right, so let's do the news here. Freddie Freeman, who's out with the ankle injury, he hurt it in the shower. Friday return against the Cubs is what we're expecting. I've already had some questions about him in Discord. So that's good news. It sounds like it was a minimum stay. It sounds like the Dodgers were just doing what we anticipated. Let me find the center here. It sounds like the Dodgers were doing just what we anticipated they were doing, which was basically giving a guy a break when they didn't need to because they can. So he's expected back on Friday. Good news there. Obviously it's something to think about because that ankle was surgically repaired and the tweak is not good. But at this point in time, we're expecting Freeman back on Friday, and I would anticipate him pretty quickly hitting the ground running. He's got a very simple stroke. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. He should be just fine. Wyatt Langford, not fine. We talked about Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford's got the issue with the oblique. He said he was fine after the game. They ran some tests. They're putting him on the injured list. That's kind of what happens. We don't know how long this is going to be. Jeff Mans and I talked about obliques yesterday on the Elite Sports Show. Again, that's 3 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Justin Fensterman and I on 8 to 10 Eastern, Monday through Friday on SiriusXM, including tonight. On Game Time, by the way, is the name of the show. The obliques are 2 to 6 week injuries in most cases. 2 to 6 weeks. When someone asks me how long is the guy going to miss, my default on an oblique is 4 weeks. I go right in the middle. Here we go. So how long is Langford going to be out? We just don't know. They're anticipating it to be, I think, on the shorter end of this, so maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But still, we're going to have to work around the loss of Wyatt Langford, as we discussed on the show yesterday. Evan Carter, who in theory could be a nice replacement, obviously had a disappointing spring, hasn't been doing great in the minors. He hurt himself the other night. He's not an option. So Rangers are going to have to kind of piece this together. And this season has started very poorly for the Rangers. This is an extremely, or at least potentially extremely potent offense that just hasn't gotten going. They will at some point. Has not started that way. Langford was one of the few guys that was really going, so his loss is a significant one for the team and obviously in the fantasy space. wanted to give a shout out to Pavin Smith, who we didn't ever talk about Pavin Smith. Maybe I got one question this spring about Pavin Smith. And the reason being that he's a platoon guy. He's a strict platoon guy. And there are some guys like this, the lefties that hit the righties that will not play against lefties. Pavin Smith will not play against left-handed pitching. He will play against right-handed pitching. And right now, the top of the Diamondbacks order, even with Ketel Marte on the injured list, the top of the order is blazing. It's blazing right now for the Diamondbacks, including Pavin Smith. He hit a home run yesterday against the Orioles. He went 3 for 5. He's currently batting .400. He's got a .487 on base percentage. Sample size, of course. But looking back to last season, he's got like a .940 OPS against right-handed pitchers since the start of last season. .940. He has basically become the National League version of the AL's version, which is Ryan O'Hearn, that corner infield guy that only plays against right-handed pitching and smashes them. So Pavin Smith very easily could be on the waiver wire. He has to be managed. So if you're in a league that sets your lineup on a Monday, there is risk there because if they face a lefty, he's probably not even going to be in the lineup. And if he is in the lineup, he's probably not going to do much. But if you can manipulate your lineup on a daily basis, Pavin Smith is well worth a short-term pickup here because he and the team, again, are blazing with the Diamondbacks. And he may just end up being a useful piece all season long. He kind of falls in that Michael Busch, Nathaniel Lowe zone at first base, right? But as I noted, since last season, he has crushed righties with an OPS well above 900. Seiya Suzuki, hey man, I spent a lot of time this offseason, preseason, talking about Kyle Tucker. I've got Kyle Tucker like on every team that I have this year. I know a lot of you drafted him as well. He's been off to a great start. So is his teammate Seiya Suzuki. And I think I said it here on the show, might have been on Jeff's show. I think it was here though. Ride or die with Suzuki and Tucker might be a thing this year. That duo of players they're feeding off each other, right? They really are. And I got to tell you that while we spent all the time, as we rightly should have, talking about Tucker, maybe we underreported Suzuki. The problem with Suzuki is not performance. He's been very good in his 3 years in the big leagues. The problem has been health. That's still an open-ended, is he going to play 128 games this year? He's going to play 148. We just don't know. But Suzuki went 2 for 4 last night. His batted ball data is impressive. He's got multiple hits, at least 2 hits in 7 of 10 games. His OPS is almost up to 1,000. We know he's going to steal some bases. Like Seiya Suzuki's off to a really good start. Seiya Suzuki is basically Brian Reynolds with a little bit more speed, right? The problem for Suzuki again, is that the games played total hasn't been big enough. Plays 150 games this year. Hitting in the order next to Kyle Tucker, it's going to be a really good season for Seiya Suzuki. Speaking of good starts this season, Mike Yastrzemski of the Giants. I was having a joke with my nephew who went to the Giants game last Saturday and was like, all right, spell Yastrzemski. Obviously, he wasn't doing that. I don't even know if I can do it very well myself, even though I've been typing it for years. The bottom line is he had a walk-off home run in the 10th inning yesterday as the Giants defeated the Reds. His numbers are spectacular. 300 plus, 400 plus, 500 plus slash line. In fact, those numbers are like 350, 450, and 600. He's been fantastic. Much like Pavin Smith, he's not going to face lefties, and if he does, he's not going to be very good at it. He's a guy that's a left-handed swinger that's going to face righties. That'll be when you want to utilize Yastrzemski. There always seems to be a period of time on a yearly basis where Yastrzemski has a three-week run, and he's in it right now, where he kills it. Then he returns to being who he is. And that's just, it's just a PSA here with Yastrzemski. You want to ride the wave. That's one of my favorite terms. You want to ride the wave with Yastrzemski, go for it. He's a limited player. He's not going to help you in batting average. He's not going to help you in stolen bases. The ballpark in San Francisco is not going to allow him to hit 30 home runs. There'll probably be an injury at some point. Depending upon how he's going and the rest of the lineup's going, he could be hitting 7th, 8th. Maybe he'll sneak in to hit 2nd a couple. He really is a streaming 5th outfield option, is Mike Yastrzemski. Now, right now, he's blazing. And if you want to utilize him again, I'm not against that. But understand, he's not 23 years old, right? He's been around for years. We know who he is. We have a very good understanding of what he brings to the field. The Giants love him. They'll play him against all those righties, just like Lamont Wade. But there are limits to the return we're going to get on Mike Yastrzemski. Jose Caballero, who was written up yesterday, as was Kyron Paris. Both guys were written up and raised plays over at fantasyguru.com. So hopefully you played Caballero, who had a grand slam, and Paris, who hit 2 home runs, as those cheap plays in DFS. If you did, you probably had a lot of success. Again, I'll have a player profile on Kyron Paris out later today at fantasyguru.com. In terms of Caballero, he had a grand slam yesterday. He's got a little bit of power, certainly can steal bases. He is attractive in the fantasy space because of his positional flexibility. Right now, there's all kinds of injuries that the Rays are dealing with, so Caballero might get a little bit more run here. Run, is he a runner? Might get a little bit more run with some of the injuries they're dealing with. Caballero, though, is a limited player in the sense that he's not going to give you batting average. He's not going to be in the lineup on a daily basis. He is right now, pretty much. Not going to be in the lineup on a daily basis. You know, Josh Lowe and Johnny DeLuca are down, so those are two of their starting outfielders, which opens up the playing time. But Caballero is a plug-and-play when necessary kind of guy. And right now, you know, it's early. Do you run to the waiver wire and grab Caballero if he's out there? In DFS, it's different because we can play him today, and who cares tomorrow? Seasonal, like, will he get 500 plate appearances? Still really tough to see that. And even if he does, if he's hitting 226, you know, are we paying a pretty high price for the steals then? So solid start here. Grand slam yesterday. Something to note, but don't get carried away with Jose Caballero. Mike Schilt, I almost said Schmidt, says that they're optimistic about the shoulder injury that Tatis is dealing with. They hope that he'll be back tomorrow, like Freddie Freeman. I will continue to monitor this. Tatis has never been able to play on a daily basis. Had a little bit of a scare with the shoulder. All the reports now, as we talked about yesterday, all the reports now suggest minor, so expect Tatis to be back on the field tomorrow. Staying in California on the West Coast, Hyesong Kim of the Dodgers, not Ha-Seong Kim of the Rays. The Dodgers prospect who was demoted at the start of the season had a couple of hits last night at the AAA level. They were both doubles. He's batting almost 330 here in 10 games at AAA. There is a line of thought that he could be recalled at some point here to play some outfield. Andy Pages is basically struggling out there, and maybe Ha-Seong Kim, who is a second base outfield player. Maybe if the Dodgers are happy with the swing changes and the approach changes that he's made after a rough spring, maybe he's called up in short order. Check out the rookie scouting reports. You'll find a write-up on Kim over at fantasyguru.com. Just a note there. Francisco Alvarez, who is out with the hand issue, is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. Had a debate we talked about here on the show with a user over at fantasyguru.com that was apoplectic that I didn't drop Francisco Alvarez more in the rankings. It's like, well, catchers. How far are you going to drop Alvarez? I mean, he's still going to hit 20 home runs this year, right? Good news, he's actually back playing already. 1 for 3 last night at low A ball in St. Lucie. He was behind, they played for 5 innings, so he not only hit, he played some defense. This is really good news. It's the 11th of April. So we're looking at the potential for him to return at that 6-week mark instead of the 8-week mark, which is really good news. There is a chance that he's not only back in the lineup by the end of April, there's a chance he's back before then. I mean, there's a chance he's back in 10 days, maybe a week, if they really want to aggressively fast forward things here. So things going in a very positive direction after that early injury with Francisco Alvarez. Let's talk a little bit about some bullpens. About 10 minutes, we'll visit with Armando Marsal and talk some football. I'm looking around here for. Oh, hold on one second. We got any Star Wars fans in the mix, by the way? Here, if you do, for those of you watching on the screen here is a little R2-D2. This is made out of metal. Have you ever seen these? They sell them at stores for, I don't know, $15 or something like that. They're metal. My significant other, shout out to Jesse, put this together. How cool is that, right? Yeah, right. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, she had the little wrenches and little, tiny little, super cool little R2-D2 unit. For those of you not being able to see it, it's a metal R2-D2 unit that's 2.5 inches tall that was put together with wrenches. So pretty cool. I just was moving things around with my stand-up desk the other day. I got another one of those I might share. Godfrey John G said, did you see the Phillies started Sosa in the outfield the other day? Sosa has been getting 2 hits every day, it seems like. Obviously, they will do their best, the Phillies, to get him in the lineup on a consistent basis while he's hitting well. Sosa is a flex option. He's a guy that they can move around. Their outfield is obviously, they're going to do Schwarber at DH, then they're going to do Kepler, Castellanos, and Brandon Marsh. So Sosa could see some time in the outfield, but they also have Johan Rojas. So I don't know how long it'll take him to get that added flexibility in your setup in terms of outfield qualification. It might take a long time. Switching over to the bullpen here a little bit. Devin Williams allowed 2 hits, 3 runs. He walked 2 guys against the Tigers on Wednesday. And we had a rough start to the season with relievers. We've talked a lot about Liam Hendricks and Jordan Romano and Jason Foley. Mike Clevenger got blitzed the other day. I mean, there's a lot of these scenarios, and it's April, you know. Alexis Diaz had an injury. David Bednar was sent to the minors. I'm just rifling off these things, right? Like, it's been a rough start for bullpens. And Devin Williams, 12 ERA. Now, it's too early to get nervous about this at all. But that was a rough effort yesterday. The numbers with relievers, which is always, you know, something to point out. Devin Williams gives up 3 runs and gets 2 outs. His ERA is not going to look good for 2 months, at least a month. It's not going to look good. We'll have to look beyond that. You know, you give up 2 hits, 2 walks, 4 base runners, and get 2 outs. Your whip ain't going to look good for a while. So remember that when you're talking with relievers, because bad outings like this have a tendency to skew the perception. I don't think it will with Devin Williams because he's looked at as one of the best closers in baseball, but it can really skew the outlook of a Brian Abreu who started solely. Maybe Griffin Jacks, you know, those setup guys. You might say, oh, I don't want that setup guy. Look at his ERA. ERA and whip, especially with relievers early in the season, can be very misleading. Now, Devin Williams should be fine. There was no injury report after the game, anything like that. Still maybe working on a little bit of the kinks after missing half the season last year. Lots of pressure, obviously, with the Yankees this year for Devin Williams. But that was a rough start, and it's been a rough start to the season for him. Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz gave up 2 runs. He walked 2 guys. He gave up 3 hits in his 2, and he got 2 outs. So he was even worse than Devin Williams. So both the closers in New York yesterday, In the case of Diaz, he was called on to get some work. He hadn't pitched since Sunday, so they wanted to get him out there. Normally, I would say, you know, it's a bad outing and move on from that. And that's probably what it is with Edwin Diaz. But he also threw a fastball at 92, a fastball at 93, and a fastball at 94 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken. Cold, okay, but that's so keep a close eye on Edwin Diaz and that velocity next time out. Again, this is something that we're way more focused on in 2025 than we ever have been in the past, because in the past we wouldn't have had the radar gun information available. You know, maybe there was a scout in the 3rd row, and maybe there was a 1 sentence, you know, in the newspaper that, oh, his velocity was down a little bit yesterday. It wouldn't have been a big deal because we didn't have the data. Now we have the data. We also have to understand, and this is for some people that, you know, didn't play baseball themselves or weren't athletes, there are days where you just don't have it. You don't have to feel the ball. You know, maybe you're landing an inch to the left instead of to the right with your plant foot. Maybe the weather's getting you. Maybe as you're warming up, you just don't have a feel for your fastball, so you're backing off the velocity a little bit to keep control of it. So there's a lot of things that could explain it. It's 1 outing out of what the Mets hope will be 65 outings for Edwin Diaz. So no panic here, but keep an eye on that. If his velocity is down next time out, we might have an issue with Edwin Diaz. Emmanuel Clase, the #1 closer in baseball the last 3 years, the guy that was the #1 closer off the board pretty much in every draft. This season, he gave up a run but picked up the save against the White Sox. Now, this was a rough outing for Clase, and it's kind of continued what's been less than ideal since the start of spring for him. Now, while he gave up a run, still got the save, everyone's like, okay, we still got the save, Ray. If you missed the game, Michael Tauchman was coming around 3rd base. There was going to be a play at the plate. I think he was going to be safe. He pulled a hamstring. He was actually placed on the injured list earlier today. Tauchman re-injured his hamstring, and so he limped home. When I say limped home, he didn't even make it to home plate. He got about 3 or 4 steps around 3rd base, started limping, and then just stopped running. This easily could have been a blown save for Clase, and it easily could have been 2 runs allowed. Easily. The only thing that really saved him was the injury to Tauchman. So as bad as it was for Clase, it was actually worse. So keep that in mind with Clase. Again, I said this yesterday too when Justin Fensman and I were talking about this on Elite Sports Game Time show, which against 8 to 10 Eastern, Monday through Friday on Sirius XM. His ERA last year was 0.6. I mean, that's the Dennis Eckersley zone. It happens from time to time with these elite guys in the bullpen, but 0.6. His ERA right now is 6. Is he either one of those guys? No, he's neither one of those guys. What's his ERA since the start of last season? It's still a stupendous 1.01. The bottom line is his ERA is still going up in aggregate. It's not going to, I don't think it's going above 6. Don't mistake what I'm saying. But what I'm saying to you is at the end of the year, if his ERA is 3 this season, right, that still puts him at an ERA of 2 the last 2 years. So, you know, regression is real. The data is pretty clear that the you know, this is what's going to happen. So Clase was always going to see his ratios pull back a little bit this year. It's not just the ERA. His whip was 0.66 last year. Not another unrepeatable number for Clase. Something to keep an eye on here in the early going is the lack of strikeouts. 20% K rate. You know, he's made 6 appearances, but a 20% K rate is below the league average, which is a concern. If you look at, let me see here, his ground ball fly ball ratio, again, way too early to say this is the new norm. 2.8 for his career is 1.8 this season. So some things we had, Clase is not locked in yet. I would still anticipate him being locked in, but there you go, something to think about. Jeff Hoffman earned the win pitching 2 innings of scoreless relief for the Blue Jays. Hoffman has looked very good in the early going here. The fact that the Toronto Blue Jays let him pitch 2 innings is very good news. Some people were concerned. We even mentioned here on the show. I mean, the guy's failing physicals when he's trying to sign an offseason contract. Yeah. I don't think the Blue Jays let him throw 2 innings this early in the year if they're really concerned about the physicals. So I'm feeling really good about Jeff Hoffman for 2025. We'll worry about 2027 when we get there. But for now, really intrigued by Jeff Hoffman and the fact that he appears to be fully healthy. Tony W. says, Ray, could you give a quick refresher on determining FAB for free agents? I need to be better in the NFBC. You know what, Tony? I don't have time to do that because we have a guest in Armando Marsal today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note, and I will hit on this tomorrow. Let me make a note right here so I don't forget. So Tony and everyone else, that's a good idea to just do it anyway on show. All right. I will do a refresher on FAB. We do have a FAB article that goes up either Friday night or Saturday morning over at fantasyguru.com to help you with those decisions. I'll talk more about FAB and the process tomorrow on the show, so look for that tomorrow, Tony, and everybody else on what, episode 37. Oh my gosh, look, I have episode 7,000 here. Let me see if I can make an adjustment as we're talking. Oh boy, Ray Flowers just killing. I don't know if I can make an adjustment while we're live on air. Let's see if I can do that. Edit name. Oh, looks like I can. This is not episode 3000. We're not in the year 2086. There we go. Episode 375 is what we're doing today. Tomorrow on episode 376, we'll look to do a little bit of a FAB refresher for Tony and everybody else. A couple of quick notes before we visit with Armando Marsal and talk some football. Tanner Houck gave up 1 run yesterday in 6 2/3 innings against the Blue Jays. A solid effort there without question. Same time, Houck is not missing bats. He's just not missing bats. And he's not a strikeout guy. He's a guy that lives on grounders and defense anyway. But an 8% whiff rate, 23% CSW yesterday. These are numbers that are starting to get into the Marcus Stroman zone. Not the current version of Marcus Stroman, but the Marcus Stroman from 3 years ago when he was good. So this is still a level that Tanner Houck can be effective at. But we'd really like to see him miss some more bats. There's a lot of defensive help he's going to need if he allows this many balls to be in play. Good effort yesterday, better than the first couple of efforts. Check out his player profile at fantasyguru.com for a little bit more information on him. Kevin Gausman had an excellent outing. He went 8 innings yesterday against the Red Sox, 10 strikeouts with no walks. It's a banging effort. And that is prime time Kevin Gausman in terms of the results. Not expected by most, including me, heading into this season. Now, the problem with that is that his fastball was down 2 miles an hour last night. So despite the success, the velocity is down. And at this point in time, you know, there's some weather in Boston and all that. But I think it's the larger picture with Gausman is the stuff is receding as he ages. And that's not a shock that happens. Still good enough to pitch. Still good enough to throw 175 innings, get you 177 strikeouts. Like he's still, I think, going to be that guy. But the days of dominance, like we saw last night, they're just going to happen much less frequently with Kevin Gausman. Splitter only had 4 whiffs and a 39% zone rate last night, and he needs the splitter. That's his pitch. So despite the outright success he had last night, velocity was down a little bit. The splitter wasn't sharp. Those are 2 things that will need to improve for him to replicate the effort that he had last night. Pablo Lopez, who we talked about on the show, finally, we talked about him yesterday with the hamstring issue. He has indeed been placed on the injured list with that hamstring situation. The Twins are hopeful that Pablo's hamstring issue will be a minimum 15-day stay. That's what they're thinking right now. As of right now, they have not put a this is what we're going to do situation in terms of replacing Lopez. I and many others have speculated Zebby Matthews. I even said yesterday on the show, for those of you that open waiver wire, pick up Zebby Matthews. You can do that again today if you have the ability to do that. Matthews has a great slider. He's got really good command. I think most scouts think he's like a fourth starter at the big league level. So he's not a dominant force. He's not likely to win your fantasy league for you, but he can very easily settle in and be successful. So note, he's very early in his career. Last season, he made 9 starts through like 37 innings. He barely had 4 innings to start. His whip was like 1.6, 1.65, something like that. So, he's been great a couple outings in the minors. And again, likely to get a chance here. A solid pickup for Zebby Matthews. But when Lopez is back, then the Twins will have to decide, is Paddock going to go? Are they going to keep Matthews around? Matthews more of a depth play, but he is somebody you can add now if you want to get proactive before he's promoted and the cost goes up. Mario, one final question. Where are the specs today? I mentioned this at the start of the show, Mario. My stand-up desk, because I have a new setup here, trying to work on ergonomics a little bit. My stand-up desk allows me to be, I don't know what, maybe a foot closer to the screens than when I'm sitting down. Don't need the specs. I actually put them on this morning. I have them right here. I put them on this morning, and I'm like, whoa, that's a little, So my vision, actually, I don't wear glasses to read. I can see to like 4 feet super clear, and then it starts getting a little, so I don't like talking to people with glasses on. I don't read with my glasses on. So I'm in a spot now where I don't really need them. So no contacts, haven't worn contacts for years. I basically just wear my glasses for distance. So there you go. But thank you for noticing, Mario. I appreciate it. All right, that's the baseball talk. We'll get back to baseball tomorrow here on the show. As I noted, I'll spend some time talking about Fab, looking ahead to the weekend. And we'll visit tomorrow with Russell Clay about halfway into the show and talk football as we always do. This week, things are a little bit different. We had Tyler Beaker on the road. So our next guest, who you normally see earlier in the week, is on later in the week because he's helping things out. Justin Fensterman and I changing days. It was all over the place. But the bottom line is our normal Tuesday guest with me, Armando Marsal, is on today here on the show. Armando, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Ray. How about yourself?
We're doing okay. As Mario said there, ergonomic improvements with my desk. I'm not wearing my glasses anymore. We got solar panels installed. I'm basically a new person since the last time we talked, Armando. Are you still the same person?
I am, Ray. I am. Not much has changed here. I still got the same background, hoodie on. It is a different hoodie.
Okay.
This time around. So, but yeah, same guy here.
Things have been going good the last week since we talked. Again, the schedule a little bit different this week, so a little bit more time between our conversations here on the show. Status quo, just cranking out player profiles over at fantasyguru.com, looking toward the draft, doing your basketball work, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. The same old. We got the NBA cheat sheet. I was on NBA earlier in the week, shifting gears now to NFL, working on the player profile. Be up tomorrow. I am going to be on NBA as well tomorrow, so I'll have a rookie profile. I'm also going to be on NBA. Mike Sillo is unable to, so I'll take over that cheat sheet there, and I'll be in Discord as well tomorrow, talking hoops with everyone.
He's Armando Marsal. I'm Ray Flowers. Normally on Tuesdays, but he's on with us here on a Thursday. So normally on Wednesdays with Justin Fensterman too, talking hoops with him.
I was on Tuesday. It was with Fancy though. It was with Fancy.
It was with Fancy, and to share what's going to happen next week, Fancy's traveling next week, so I think we're going to do the same awkward schedule next week, which means I think next week I'll be on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with Justin on Tuesday. So I think we're going to keep Armando on his Tuesday, Wednesday next week, but we'll flip-flop football and basketball. At least that's the current plan. We'll let you know if that changes. And then the following week, we'll go back to normal on the show. Let's talk some football, Armando. I don't like Kyler Murray. I've never been a fan of Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's always a quarterback one, though. He's a boring quarterback one, but we can feel pretty confident he's a quarterback one. He says he wants to run more. Now, we hear stories like this all the time. Players say they want to do this. Coaches say they want to do that. It doesn't always work out that way. I also read the report, and Kyler said that he felt something in his knee that was surgically repaired last season. It's like, bro, you're 2 years removed from your injury, and you're feeling something in your knee. A little concerning there. Bottom line is Kyler Murray going to be more of the same, slightly disappointing QB 10 kind of guy, or do you take this I want to run more thing to heart?
So do I think he's able to run more and he might run more this year? I do. He didn't run a ton last season, so I think that he can run more. But the question is, do you want a quarterback like Kyler Murray running more, right? Because he's not the biggest quarterback. I mean, he's not. I don't think he's going to do well taking all that contact. From a fantasy perspective, sure. If he stays healthy, he's running more, it's going to provide you a higher floor on a weekly basis. That's one of the appeals that that a lot of fantasy managers had when it came to Kyler Murray, was the ability to run the football. He's also someone that could sling it. But a quarterback of his size, for me, is very concerning as far as running the football more often, because taking a lot of hits could result in, fewer games if an injury occurs. So for me, yes, it can happen. Do I love the idea? No, not really. Not with someone of his, of his size. So I'm like you. I generally stay away from Kyler Murray. I don't think I've ever drafted him outside of maybe like best balls where I'm stacking or something like that. But in season-long leagues, I don't think I've ever invested in Kyler Murray. And yeah, this is obviously appealing from a fantasy standpoint, but I'm also looking at it on the other side where if he's running more, he's going to be more susceptible to potential injuries given his size.
He's 5'3". I'm exaggerating a little bit. He's so small.
No, he's 5'5".
They say 5'10", right? But it's like, he's not. Maybe it's 5'10". He's Doug Flutie out there, basically.
Yeah.
Another quarterback situation. This is interesting. The Atlantic's Dan Dugan reported that, Russell Wilson's only making $2 million a year as a base salary for the Giants. Maybe they trade him. The Giants went out and signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. So they have two veteran quarterbacks. Neither is the answer for this organization. There is debate about what the Giants are going to do with the pick at the top of the draft. Are they going to take a quarterback? Are they going to take a guy later? And we don't know what the Giants are going to do. The expectation, obviously, is that Russell Wilson will be the starter in week 1. What does this report from a beat writer suggest to you? Do you think this is just a guy being smart and saying he's not making any money? Is this reflective of your belief that they're going to draft a quarterback early? Is this, hey, we got Jameis Winston, let's ride or die? How do you read the most recent report with Russell Wilson?
I don't think this guy have much to write about right now. I mean, this is, for me right now, this is fluff, right? This is just one of those things where it's one person thinking that there's a possibility that a player is traded given the salary and given the, what's projected here. I think what we got to do right now is sit back, wait until draft day, see what the Giants actually do on draft day, and then kind of start solving the puzzle, right? Like, that's what I say. I think we have pieces of the puzzle. Free agency is one. Now we have a little bit of a period where there's going to be some talk, some reports, some rumors, and this is kind of where you take, things and block out the noise, right? For me, this is noise. This is just fluff. I'm not paying too much attention to this. Now, if they draft a quarterback, if Jameis Winston starts beating out Russell Wilson, then we can start having the conversation. Okay, well, they may not need them. They might be looking to trade them. But at this time, I'm not looking too much into this report.
We have another Giants report. This one from another writer, Art Stapleton. This one is, I'm interested in this one because Tyrone Tracy had some really nice moments last year. He also had problems holding on to the football. And at the end of the day, if you get your quarterback blown up because you miss a block or you fumble the football, those two things lead to you being on the bench. Doesn't matter how good you are between the tackles, right? So Stapleton's report is that the Giants are doing a lot of homework on the running back position. Okay. Now, this class is basically being looked at as pretty strong for the running back. This is not to suggest the Giants are taking a running back in the first or second round, but it's something they're thinking about. And this is another team too. Like they sign help me out here, Devin Singletary. They signed him to the 2-year contract or whatever. So they have Tracy and Singletary. What do you think? I mean, does it make sense with the Giants' needs? Because it doesn't really to me. Make sense for the Giants to be investing in a running back, at least in the top half of the draft? I don't really see how that makes sense.
I don't know if they're going to invest, they might invest in a running back in the top half, like of the draft, like maybe a second round or something on the running back. The thing with Tracy is like, if they can find someone, like you mentioned the pass blocking, but if they can find someone that's a little bit more efficient too in between the tackles, I think that that's an opportunity they can take. We know Tracy is explosive. We know he can create big plays. He's someone that, if he breaks a tackle, he could take it for 15, 20 yards. He could even take it all the way. He has that explosiveness. Someone that was a receiver converted running back. Remember, we have to keep that in mind. So his skill sets are a little bit different. So if they get a running back that can run in between the tackles, if they get someone that they can count on that short yardage situations and a little bit more of the physicality, to take that beating at the end of the day, because they're going to run into the line and all that stuff, I think they're going to take the chance. That, remember, this is a team that has multiple holes. And then the running back might not be the priority necessity right now, but this still is a necessity for this team. So I could see them investing in a running back. But if they don't, I think Tracy can handle the workload. Right? I do think he's not your ideal in between the tackle runner, but he still can handle the workload. So I don't think they have to, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Marsal of fantasyguru.com. By the way, I was just thinking about this as we're talking draft picks and everything like that, and I was having another discussion with a user over in Discord at FG this morning. I love the fact that people in dynasty leagues, they're doing rookie drafts, are planning how they're going to draft and put a team together. I'm personally seeing way too many people saying, I'm taking a quarterback, I'm taking a running back, I'm taking a wide receiver. Like, this is my plan. I'm going to take running back, wide receiver. We don't even know where these players are going to end up. So I want to caution everyone. I saw Rich Molino putting the same caution out there, and I want to get your thoughts. I love, again, people having a plan on how they're going to handle this rookie draft. But don't we have to wait till the players get drafted? I have the second pick. I got the fourth pick. I got the seventh pick. I'm going to go running back. Don't we need to know where these players end up? If you have the 1-1, you're taking Genty, and we'll talk about him later. But beyond that, don't we need to know where these guys end up?
Yeah, I think you have to know where everyone ends up, right? To kind of find out where their value is going to be. Some situations are more ideal than others. Some situations are not ideal. We've seen that, with quarterbacks, we've seen that with receivers, or even running backs. Like sometimes we think, oh, this running back's great. Yeah, but if he's not on the field, he isn't getting any production, any fantasy points for you. So yeah, I like the idea of planning maybe a position, right? Like, and it all depends on team needs. In Dynasty, it's very, dependent on team needs and what you're planning for. You're planning for the future. Are you planning to win now? Like all of that, there's so many variables that, play a role in the decision-making process. But yeah, to if you want to plan position, sure. But to say exactly who you're going to pick and exactly who, I think you got to wait and see what happens in the NFL draft, because I'm sure that there's a lot of, mock drafts, and I'm sure there's a lot of projections, and I can guarantee a lot of that's going to be wrong. It happens each and every year, right? There's surprises. There's people that are going to be trading up, and we're going to talk about that with Genty soon. Because as things stand, there's one team, but if someone trades up and there's another team, things change really quickly in the NFL draft.
Marsal of fantasyguru.com. We've got the Tyreek Hill situation off the field. The news that people missed it, ex-wife or his current wife and child and everything that's ongoing right now. Police were involved and everything. And there's a long record of him being a bad guy. So that's one type of player. And we know who those type of players are, the troublemaker types. I want to ask you about a non-troublemaker player that seems to be causing some trouble, James Cook of the Bills. James Cook and the team don't apparently have the same viewpoint on what his value is. Okay, James Cook wants $15 million a year. He's put it out in social media. Bills aren't paying him $15 million a year. So that's not happening. So there's now this push and pull of, is Cook going to hold out? Is this going to end up being a problem in the locker room? How excited should we be about Ray Davis? What's kind of your read in this scenario? Because again, Ian Rappaport came out and said that, hey, man, it's not great between the player and the team. What are your thoughts on the backfield with the Bills at this moment?
Yeah, it's not ideal. I agree with it. I don't think Buffalo's going to go $50 million. I just don't see them doing it. This is one of those situations where I'm probably going to be avoiding right now. This can, kind of, if you're drafting right now, I'm probably avoiding it. Yes, he's an RB2, but there are other running backs in that range that maybe, not take that kind of risk that you are with Cook. I think it's going to drag out. I think it's going to get messy before it gets, pretty. And I honestly, I'm not as optimistic here as I have been in other situations, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't know if he's really going to stand firm. He might hold out here. For running backs, I don't think that running backs have the kind of leverage that maybe receivers have in the NFL right now, mm-hmm. or even, quarterbacks or basically any other position. So this is why I think this can kind of drag out longer. So for me, it's not ideal. I think if you're getting Ray Davis right now at a good price, continue investing in him. If you draft Cook, I strongly recommend taking Davis, strongly recommend it, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about handcuff. This is very important to handcuff here. So kind of when Bell, right? When I think James Conner was his handcuff that year, if I'm not mistaken, mm-hmm. Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, that. So, so go invest in the handcuff in case this leaks into, the regular season.
I mean, James Cook scored 18 touchdowns last year. He also is with the quarterback who's going to steal touches at the goal line. Ray Davis is probably a better short yardage guy than Cook. And realize the addition of Davis last year had James Cook losing 30 carries from the year before. And he also lost, 18 targets. So the touchdowns really made that season stupendous last year, but his workload was pulled back last year. So something to think about when you're discussing the Bills in that backfield situation as well. Armando Marsal of fantasyguru.com. What about the Patriots backfield? Rhamondre Stevenson, pretty good football player, doing a lot of things. He gets signed to a 4-year contract. They extended him out. Then they changed the coaching staff. They're making moves on offense. They've got a new quarterback in Drake May. They've got a new wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. They're talking about Mike Reese, who's covered the team forever, who I trust his reporting. Says they're going to try to get a pass-catching running back. They had Antonio Gibson, but I guess they want to replace him. What are we doing with Rhamondre Stevenson? It sounds simple and stupid to just say he's running back 21, deal with it, and maybe he will be. Is that kind of how you see this with this news that the Patriots might be looking to get somebody to catch passes, even though Stevenson has caught passes throughout his career?
I'm still good. Right now, I'm not changing much. I'm viewing Stevenson as more of an RB3 / flex option for me going into the season. He's capable of catching passes, but this is a team, and I know it's a new coach staff, but we've seen this like with New England. Like they usually have a bruiser, and then they have someone that catches passes out of the backfield. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do here. They still have Gibson on the roster, if I'm not mistaken, and he's someone that can catch passes in the backfield. They utilize him at times as a pass catcher. So for me, I don't know how much this is going to change Stevenson's value, right? Like I think he's right now RB3. I think if they make this addition, I'm still going to be viewing him as such. I don't think it's going to change his value all that much. And if they don't sign anyone, or if they don't add a pass catching back, and whether it be the draft or any other facet, I just don't think it's going to change all that much for me. I still think the opportunities are going to be there for Stevenson. You mentioned they paid him. He has, it's not a significant contract, but it's a decent contract, and I think he's going to continue to see the usage there that he's been getting.
Armando, with the Chargers, obviously they added Najee Harris. It's a 1-year deal, so he's maybe not even going to be there in the following season, but he's expected to basically have very similar role to what he had with the Steelers. The question is, who's going to be that support back? Kamani Vidal was supposed to be the guy that would ascend. He didn't last year. There was a report talking about the concerns the team has with pass protection. Talked about earlier today, you fumble the ball, you can't pass protect. Really hard to be a running back in the NFL. There's all kinds of reports that the Chargers are going to draft a running back this year. You had Kamani Vidal. Are you holding through the draft? Are you just getting him right now? And if you're in a dynasty league, we all at some level said, hey, get Kamani Vidal last year. It was a total zero last year. Is it going to be a total zero moving forward?
I mean, I don't think you're all that invested in him, right? Like we talked a lot about him here as far as Vidal's concerned, but you weren't investing high draft capital on him. You weren't investing, anything significant to acquire him. I think you continue to hold. What kept him off the field, you mentioned it. And I talk about this all the time, and I've heard, pass blocking doesn't get you fantasy points. Yeah, that's fine. But if you can't pass block, if you can't pass protect, you're not going to get on the field. I don't care how talented you are. It's not going to get you on the field, especially if you're giving up pressures, if you're giving up sacks, if you're giving up quarterback hits. Like your job when you're out there pass protecting is protecting the quarterback, which is the face of the franchise in most instances, right? So I'm holding Vidal. To answer your question, I'm going to continue to hold Vidal. There's no need. I mean, unless you need to make a roster cut for space or for because they're condensing the roster, whatever the case may be. But as a free drop to kind of explore something else, no, I think running backs like this you hold. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe they do work on that pass protection. Like that is something. That's not something that is a physical or deficiency on the player. That's just something that he needs to learn. And I think with time, some of these younger running backs, it takes a little bit of time to pass protect. So I would see it through. They can mention Harris is only in for a 1-year deal. We don't know if they're going to draft him or not. There's rumors that they might. There's reports that they might. We just don't know yet. I would wait it out, see how it plays out, and then go from there.
Armando, what about more running back talk? The Cowboys brought in Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, 2 veteran-ish players, right? But there are reports that they're still looking for a running back, which I understand. There have been lots of stories going back months now tying them to Ashton Genty. We heard a report last week the Saints want Ashton Genty. We got a report yesterday that the Bears want Ashton Genty. There's no debate that Genty is the guy to get at the running back position in fantasy and in the real world. He's going to be the first back off the board, barring something crazy. Where's he going to end up? Because, they're at one point in time, he would have been the number one. We would have been the 1-1, right? Years ago in the NFL. That's not how it is. But everyone seems to be falling over themselves to get Genty this year. What's your guesstimate on where he goes? Is he going to last to the Cowboys, or is he going before that?
I think number 6 overall, Raiders. They make a lot of sense. Like when you look at their backfield right now, so it consists of Raheem Mostert, Zamir White, Sincere McCormick, and then a couple guys, like other guys there. You know, I think Isaiah Spiller's in there somewhere. So this is a team. Look, they got Geno Smith, they got Pete Carroll. We know what he likes to do. He likes to run the football. Yep. You have Brock Bowers, you have Jacoby Myers. They could focus on maybe, a receiver later in the draft. There's a couple of nice receivers that might be going in that second round. You're now talking about a somewhat revamped offense. You add that kind of running back to this, listen, it's building a very good foundation here for the future. When you look at Bowers, Genty. I think that makes sense. You mentioned the Bears are now reportedly. I read the same report. Like they're thinking, or there's reports that they could move down to the 5th spot. With the Jaguars, move out of there and draft Genty there. That would make sense for a team. When they're trying to build around Caleb Williams there. But I think if there's no trade involved, the Raiders make so much sense at number 6 to me. Like when you look at the step chart, you kind of look at their moves. You look at the coaching staff here, the changes there. It just makes a lot of sense to me. So Raiders could be the landing spot here if there are no trades.
Armando, a final question for football before we open up a pack of cards. Tutu Atwell signed a 1-year, $10 million deal, and all of us are like, okay, whatever. Like, we're not seeing this. I think universally, I don't remember reading anything on social media like, yeah, great move. Sean McVay says, well, he's going to be on the field all the time. Now, the Rams, everyone basically runs 3 wide receiver sets anymore, right? That's really the base package for almost everybody. Sometimes it's 4. So hearing the head coach say Atwell's going to be on the field a lot, don't doubt that. They've got rid of Cooper Kupp. I don't doubt that. What are your thoughts on his fantasy outlook? Because I think some people might be confusing. He got $10 million and he's going to be on the field all the time with, oh, yeah, this guy's getting 8 targets a week. Like, who is Tutu Atwell?
It's funny that you said that because I'm reading a book right now that's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and they talk about paradigms and like perception and stuff. Mm-hmm. And how you read that, right? How you read that is how you perceive it. Yes, everyone's going to be like, oh, my God, he's going to be on the field. They run a high percentage of 11 personnel. Like they're going to have a lot of 3 receiver sets a lot. He is going to be on the field a lot. But if you really think that he's going to get more targets than Nakua, Devontae Adams, and I mean, Williams is very involved in the passing game as well. They involved their tight end. Look, Tutu Atwell for me is going to be a guy that if everyone's healthy, he's going to have his big moments, but it's not going to be a week-to-week consistency as far as target share, opportunities. They're going to be the big games. He's capable of the big plays. I think and they did pay him, so he's going to be involved, right? Quote unquote involved. But I think he's better suited for best ball formats where you don't really have to guess that week, where you don't have to, see those 20 fantasy points on the bench on that good day that he had that monster week. That's kind of where I see Tutu Atwell. Now the Rams start, injuries start piling up. Sure. Yeah. The more opportunities will be there. He will be the next man up, so to speak, when you look at the receiving. He's probably going to be that 3rd guy, right? So like if Adams misses time, Atwell moves to number 2. Nakua misses time, like kind of like that. But to be overly excited about that report, no. I'm not overly excited. I'm expecting him on the field a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get a ton of targets.
Yeah, Nakua and Adams are going to get 22 targets a week.
I think they're going to come. Like I mean, you look at possible percentage there. You're talking about they can easily assume 50% of the target share on a week-to-week basis. Then you also have Williams, you have the tight end, then you have Tutu Atwell. Like you're talking about another 50 between those 3, and then the secondary and 3rd guys and 4th guys. All that has to play a role in there.
Marsal at fantasyguru.com. He does basketball for us at fantasyguru.com. He obviously does football for us at fantasyguru.com. Coached a little bit of baseball, likes a little bit of baseball. Went to a baseball game opening day. And we often open a pack of cards. Are we going to do that today, Armando? Yeah,
we are. We're going to do a flea. I coached a little bit. I had a moment like that gentleman that pulled his hamstring. Well, no one pulled their hamstring, but you talked about we had to play yesterday. So we had my center fielder cut off to second base. I'm telling my second baseman, hold it, because that guy turned, and I thought, and then we had another runner on. I'm like, this is going to score all the runs if he misses. Threw a perfect throw. The guy stumbled, running from third home. He stumbled some easy out for us. I was telling him to hold it. So thank God he didn't listen to coach, right? That's still
don't listen to the coach.
No, just don't. I told him after, hey, thank you for not listening to me, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, we got a 1990. Let me reread the background. Give me a second.
It's 1990 Fleer MLB, right?
Yeah, that's what we got going on today.
Right. Making a notice. I tweeted out.
Yes.
Let people know. You can follow Armando at Armando_Marsal. You can follow me at The Ray Flowers. You can find this show as well as his podcast, Mind of Marsal, at fantasyguru.com if you click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. All right, Armando, what do we got?
All right. We got a baseball quiz.
Okay.
Right here. Yeah. You want me to read you a question?
Little stickers. Oh, sure. I'll probably miss it, but let's go for it.
True or false? Babe Ruth was once a pitcher for the Red Sox.
Yeah, true.
You see?
Yeah, that's for like a 6-year-old. Yeah, I got yes. Right. The answer is yes. He held World Series pitching records too, by the way.
Oh, look at that. You see? Yeah, add a little bit to that nugget. There you go. All right, we got talking about pitchers. We got David Cone.
David Cone, who's famous for being a dominant pitcher, who's famous for his slider, who's famous for a no-hitter, and famous for pleasuring himself in the bullpen.
Is that so? Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's a fact. So if people can look that up. I'm not going to go into any more detail.
I did not know that. All right, we got Jeff Ballard here, another pitcher.
Okay, yeah, look at that. I like the kind of black look, right? The glove.
Yeah.
You like it when the glove matches the uniform. Again, black. I like when it gets to be red or turquoise. That throws me off a little. What do you think?
Well, it's funny because my yes, I agree with you 100%. I'm old school, like just the traditional glove.
Okay.
I had my son. I needed to buy him a new glove a couple weeks ago, and he wanted one of those. I'm like, listen, they don't have that your size right now because they didn't. And then the other ones that are like that were like $300. I'm not spending $300 on the glove. So I went. He's going to be 9 now. So
okay. Yeah, that's really yeah.
I went Wilson A950.
Okay.
Under $100.
Okay.
Black with the yellow lettering. I'm like, that's it. It matches every uniform you have. It doesn't matter the color of the uniform. Black glove will match even black or brown glove will match any uniform.
I was always a Rawlings guy.
Yeah.
Gold glove, heart of the hide, that kind of stuff. I got really nice gloves, but I was a very serious player. I wouldn't be buying a 9-year-old a $300 glove either. So.
Oh no.
I don't.
No, the A950 is a pretty solid glove. I have the A1000. So.
My first glove I ever got was my uncle's glove. He gave it to me when I was 6 years old. It was an A2000.
Really?
So that's like the 12-inch outfielder glove that I was using at 6. Luckily, I was a big kid, but it was a big glove. I still have it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I have a Rawlings and I have the Wilson. I have one of each. Yeah. The Rawlings is my I use that for softball. Whenever. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
All right, we got Bill Kruger here, another pitcher.
Bill Kruger. What is that? Brewers? Yeah. Do you like the script there? The cursive Milwaukee?
I do.
Okay. I like their logo. The logo was cool. I've always liked the Brewers logo.
Yeah, I love that logo.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we got Mike McFarlane.
Mike McFarlane? I think it's McFarlane, but
is it? Okay.
Yeah, but you had it right. He's a defense first catcher, not a big offensive guy, not a fantasy option.
No,
that's for sure.
How about this guy was a fantasy option, was he? Dave Magadan.
Dave Magadan was. Yeah, Dave Magadan became a hitting coach after he didn't have a lot of power, but he was good. Batting average hit 300 a couple times, if I'm not mistaken. Some nice on base percentage. Let me look this up to make sure. I want to say he had one huge year, but yeah, he was a decent kind of corner infield play. 61 years old. He's an old guy.
He hit 444 in 86, if I'm reading this right.
In 1990, he hit 328. That was his best season. But yeah, his career 288 hitter, 390 on base percentage. Like, let's go. That's pretty damn good. Played for 15 years too.
Yeah, he only played 10 games in 88. That's why.
Yeah.
Or 86, sorry.
That's right. But 1990, he hit 328. Qualified for the batting title that year too. So there you go.
And he hit 318 in 87.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Brooke Jacoby. I don't know who that is.
I remember Brooke Jacoby. I want to say Brooke Jacoby had a really, he was a prospect that everyone was really excited about, and then he just flamed out.
Okay.
He had 20 home runs, 87 RBIs in his second year. He had 2 good years. He had 30 home runs one year. So he had two good years, and then kind of I remember Brooke Jacoby. Good name.
I don't remember him.
That's right.
Rolando Rooms.
I don't remember him.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either, for being honest.
Yeah. So next, I honestly don't remember that guy at all.
Oh, here we go. We got a player of the decade, 10th anniversary.
Okay.
Roger Clemens.
He was pretty good for multiple decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was.
Could have been player of the decade for a couple of decades.
Really, right? And there is an argument to be made, PEDs or not, there is an argument to be made that he's one of the 5 best pitchers of all time. So I think it really comes down to how you view PEDs with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. An argument he's top 3, actually, if you want to go for it. But
we got a good mustache here.
Okay.
Randy McCammon.
Oh, look at that. I don't even remember him, and he's a giant. Look at him. He looks like, you know what he does now? He's a butcher now, right?
That's exactly what that is.
Right. That's kind of like.
He looks upset right there. He looks angry.
He's a very serious guy. He's about ready to get demoted, so he's very serious.
All right, we got another picture, another mustache. This was a little happier mustache. This is Dennis Lamp. I remember that name.
Yeah. Look at that mustache.
That looks like it's painted on, right?
Is it? It does look.
It's not.
It's not. It looks like it is, though. You're right.
It looks like it's painted on.
I don't. Have you? You probably have done just mustache. Have you done that look? Just the mustache, Armando?
I did it once. Yes, I did it last baseball season. We were winning, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna keep this going until, and it lasted like 2 weeks.
I hate the mustache look. It's like, oh.
I'm not big on it either.
Mm-mm.
My wife was dreading. She's like, "Why'd you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's baseball."
I had to do it once. I had to be Magnum PI.
Yeah. All right, we got to go with here.
Okay.
Andre Dawson. I remember him.
Andre Dawson. I think he was the first player in 1987 to win the NL MVP for a losing team. I believe he had 49 home runs that year. Huge effort for him. It was a great player before his knees kind of went completely. He was a stolen base threat early in his career too. People remember him with the Cubs. They don't, he wasn't as athletic anymore. Kind of hobbled around a little bit, but he could hit.
Yeah, he was a great outfielder.
Absolutely.
Another one. This guy used to hit the ball hard. Gary Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the videos of his son?
Does he do the same thing?
Almost identical.
Okay.
Like, it's insane. It's almost identical. You should Google that.
Okay.
Check those out.
He is Phil Backert, who does our IDP for football, who's our producer on Sirius XM. Gary Sheffield's his favorite player, I think. Favorite non-Oriole player. So, but yeah, no one would ever teach. And I mean, for those people that are looking at me, if you don't remember his swing, it's one thing to have movement in your hands, like, you get a little. He would actually tip the top of the bat at the pitcher, like it was violent the way.
It was violent too.
There's no way anyone's teaching.
I'm surprised he never sprained his wrist doing that. Like, it hurts. Like, I'm like, man, you're messy with that wrist there.
I get his kid doing it because it's a family thing, but his kid shouldn't be doing it. Like, there's one Gary Sheffield. Like, you should not be doing this. Anyway, it's almost identical. It's very. It's
mind blowing to me.
Okay.
I remember this. This guy, Mike Witt.
Mike Witt. I think do you have a no hitter? Mike Witt have a no hitter? I want to say he might have. Mike Witt.
I'm not sure.
Here. I'm not standing in front of my. See what happens when you stand up? You're not in front of your keyboard. I was typing the wrong letters. I was wrong. He threw a perfect game.
He threw a perfect game. Did he?
September 30th, 1984, against the Texas Rangers. Mike Witt.
Oh, that's why.
Perfect game.
I had just turned 1. I wasn't watching that.
I was like 100. 11th perfect game in MLB history at the time. I'm sorry, Mike, did I shortchange you? I said no hitter was a perfect game. He
had 14 complete games in 86, 10 in 87, and 12 in 88.
Guys don't have 12 in their career anymore. Yeah.
No. Yeah. John Moses.
Don't really remember John.
I don't know him either.
He's wearing a very generic outfit with the 6-inch stirrup thing. Kind of boring look there.
Do you remember those socks, like with the line?
The line on the sock.
And then before the line on the sock was the sock, and then that other thing that you would I don't even know what they call them. That looked like the line.
I would say this. I'm taking credit, and this is not real. But I'm taking credit for the trend. If you remember, I'm older than you, so maybe you don't remember this. There used to be the long stirrup, right, that you wore, and it was kind of uncomfortable under your foot and everything like that. And there was always a debate where your pants should go, like how much stirrup do you show. So when I was a junior in high school, sophomore in high school, when I was a sophomore in high school, I just basically said, look, I'm going to the soccer shop. we had red stirrups. I went and bought red soccer socks. Okay. So I just wore red socks and I pulled my pants down to about, there's probably 8-10 inches of this showing. So I'm claiming I'm the first person in the world that actually wore socks instead of stirrups, which of course is not true. But there were many people wearing colored socks back then. I kind of started a trend, at least locally here. So that's my claim to fame with clothing, because I'm not a big clothes horse.
Well, I'm going to tell everyone I know who started that trend.
Okay, who
now I am going to be able to say to everyone, I know who started that trend.
It
was you. It was Ray Flowers.
Yeah.
It was Ray Flowers.
I'm taking credit for that. That's the greatest invention of my life, wearing socks on a baseball field.
Love it. I'm going to tell everyone I know the founder of that. All right, this last one, I really don't know who he is either.
Okay.
Steve Wilson.
I don't remember Steve Wilson. He looks very happy.
He does.
Doesn't have a mustache. Looks happy. Right now, I bet he's running an HVAC company right now. that's what right? That's kind of what it looks like,
Yeah.
Professional. Yeah. Tucks his shirt into his khakis,
Yeah. Yeah, he's always shirt tucked in at all times.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah. Unlike Mustache, unlike our guy Dennis Lamp, this guy not tucking his shirt in.
No, that guy's drinking beer at the end of the.
He's on the ranch.
On ranch. Okay, yeah.
There you go. Runs a ranch.
Riding horses.
There you go.
I don't know what
that was it. Some pretty good cards. That Roger Clemens is good. Check it out. See how much it is. Good corners too. So.
All right. Yeah, I always like that having Armando on. Hopefully you folks enjoy that too. We like to open up the cards, get a little laugh. Tony says, by the way, Mike Witt is on the phone. He wants to talk to me. Yeah, when you throw a perfecto and it gets called a no-no, that's bad. So I apologize, Mike. We don't have time to talk to you today. The show's over, but I apologize for shorting you on your perfect game. Anyway, Armando, thanks for bringing the pack of cards. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today. Again, next week we'll probably get on a more normal schedule with Armando. He'll be on Tuesday, Wednesday, but we'll flip-flop. Tuesday we'll be with Justin while he talks some hoops. He'll be on with me Wednesday to talk some football. What do you got coming up here the next couple of days at fantasyguru.com, Armando?
Yeah, like I said, I got the player profile working on that already. That'll be posted. I'll also be on NBA as well tomorrow. And then Discord answering questions as far for NBA. And then I know we got some dynasty questions, stuff like that. You can find me in there as well. All of that, fantasyguru.com.
He's Armando Marsal. We want to thank him for his time today. We're going to be busy over at FG. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Get signed up for any of the products. Again, remember, click the Elite Plus tab in the middle of the top of the page to find this show, Fantasy Sports Daily catalog, as well as Armando's podcast, Mind of Marsal. Armando, thanks for your time today. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. He's Armando Marsal and Ray Flowers. Go to FG. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. And join the Elite Mafia in 2025. For Armando, I'm Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily. We'll see you tomorrow on Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern, right here on the show powered by fantasyguru.com.